What's up, y'all? Harkos here. I just wanted to drop a quick message here real quick. I wanted to apologize for the bad quality audio on my voice on this whole episode. There was an oversight and a technical difficulty that we did not catch during the episode or during the pre-show, and so I sound like I'm in a trash can. So I want to apologize to all of y'all about that. The message is still on point. KP's voice is on point, and so hopefully you enjoy the episode and take away as much information as possible. Enjoy the show. People have a really high ego and a really low pain tolerance when it comes to making investments in their musical career. And that's something that's hard to overcome, especially when you don't have much money. Every dime that you try to invest, you want to try to make that maximize as much as possible. You don't want to try to throw it away because then that hurts. You're like, man, I could have spent that on something else. You want to make sure that you have your investment come back to you. You know, and so that's where you got to work smarter, not harder. Just because you're throwing money at something doesn't mean it's going to come out. What's up, y'all? Harkos here with Music Making Sense Podcast. And with me, as always, is the Dapper Dan Mohawk man himself, KP. How the hell you doing today, KP?
What's up, people?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So
KP's got some sound effects.
You know I'm about to have fun with it, right? So, get ready for this, man.
Exactly. KP found the sound effects on our new software we're using called Riverside. We started using it last episode as well, too.
Powered by Riverside FM.
Exactly. Powered by Riverside FM. So any of y'all who are interested in doing podcasts, we highly recommend it. I mean, going with Zoom or whatever is okay, but there's a lot of technicals with Zoom that kind of make it a hindrance when it comes to post editing that Riverside just doesn't. I'm not even doing a plug, like, it's for real. Like, I like Riverside better when I'm doing the post edit
we
for
both do.
The podcast. Yeah, because like I primarily do like all the post editing, cutting out the clips and everything like that. And with Riverside, it's pretty cool. Any of y'all who are like into editing and shit. So with Zoom, you get the video and the audio on one thing. So you get the video feed and then you get the audio feed, and it's just for everything. So when he's speaking, when I'm speaking, it's all on one track. Now, supposedly, I was talking to somebody about it the other day, and they said you can split that. Mm-hmm. But either way, the video portion for Zoom, their video is not that high quality, right? But with Riverside, they actually have high quality, and then also they split the tracks out. So his video and his audio are separate, and my video and my audio is separate. So if I sneeze while he's talking, or he coughs whenever I'm talking, or something like that, I can cut that out and post, and y'all never know the difference.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like, it's got sound effects on here and shit. So I'm sure KP's gonna have fun with that and everything. If any of y'all are familiar with the podcast Kill Tony, Red Band is always pushing the soundboard with some dumbass shit. I have a feeling KP is going to be on here doing the soundboard with some crazy shit as well, too, just to have some fun with it. Exactly.
And we got all our people with us right here. They love it too. They're loving us, man. They're loving us. That's right.
Exactly. But yeah, we didn't come here to pitch Riverside to y'all. We're just letting you know that you're going to hear sound effects now starting from here on out, because we got a new software that we're using and everything. Yeah. So and the software is pretty dope. Just a couple of learning curves that we've been working on outside of everything. But yeah, I mean, we oh shit, I just noticed this cool thing here too. I can add a marker in the video.
Oh, nice.
That's gonna at the bottom of the screen right here, it says mark clip. So I can add a marker whenever there's something I want to do.
Oh, cool.
For a clip later. That's dope. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, it does say right
music.
here. Yeah, it sure does. I see it too. Yeah, dope.
Yeah, so we're here to talk about music marketing, not Riverside.
Well, I mean, hey, man, but hey, we are blessed. Hey, man, this is a blessing to be powered by Riverside, man. So big up to you guys.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah, and but yeah, let's go ahead and get into this gravy show here, bro.
Yeah, but podcasts are one thing I recommend to all artists that you start as an interest-based podcast, not a music self-promotion. You just, do musical masturbation on the screen all day. I'm talking about actually having a real podcast where you're talking about something that's near and dear to you and stuff. That actually helps build your brand as well, too. So no matter what software you use, we recommend Riverside, but no matter what software you use, create a podcast, however you got to get it. And it's going to definitely help you out with your marketing as well.
Yeah, because
too.
then you
But,
can help
but
engage
yeah,
with other people as well. You get to engage with them and do these things and have real conversations with your fans, and your fans also
yeah,
get in a chance to get and engage with you and get to know you, and you get to know them. So
yeah,
definitely try
absolutely.
to
You know,
get a
and
podcast.
yeah, and some musicians are doing it, but a lot of comedians do it, and it actually
Hmm.
helps them because not only are they sitting there riffing on the podcast, and it helps them come up with different concepts for their comedy,
Right.
but so it could also do the same thing for an artist as well too, you know, because I mean, there's been many things where me and KP just sitting here talking, and all of a sudden I just come up with an idea out of the blue, just off of the conversation.
Hmm.
So you can come up with different ideas for all different kinds of things that could be a benefit to you as an artist, but then you can also, um, just have conversations like he was saying with your fans or with just potential new fans that get to know you on a deeper level than just the music, and they can understand the why to the music. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
whenever you watch a documentary of one of your favorite artists or whatever, it helps you get more in depth with them as an artist.
Hmm.
People aren't really doing documentaries too much anymore. That's why I recommend doing podcasts so that people get to know you. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? And it'll help you grow, whether you're a collective or whether you're, a solo artist or whatever. You can still come up with a podcast. And if you're a collective, you can just do your own thing as well too, and it'll help grow the band, or it'll help grow. It's kind of based off of what we were talking about last week. Sometimes you don't really have to stick with the collective that much, but.
Yep.
But yeah, KP had a couple of things he was wanting to talk about. It's going to be a really interesting show with some of the things that we were talking about because, you know, me and KP as being marketers as well as artists, but we mainly focus on helping other artists with their marketing and stuff like that.
Hmm.
We often run into a lot of situations where people have a really high ego and a really low pain tolerance when it comes to making investments in their musical career. And that's something that's hard to overcome, especially when you don't have much money. Me and KP personally know about that. When you don't have much money, every dime that you try to invest, you want to try to make that maximize as much as possible. You don't want to try to
Right.
throw it away because then that hurts. You're like, man, I could have spent that on something else that, I could have spent more food, or I could have, went out on the town with the evening with my family or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Something.
Exactly.
You're
Yeah.
you're sitting there. You're taking what money you have. You're taking it out of one thing and putting it into something else. You don't have a lot of abundance. When you're starting from scratch. But if you're starting from scratch, or if you're starting from plentiful, whether you have a good job or you got a wealthy family or you're out there on the streets, slinging some shit. However you're doing it to get money, you want to make sure that you have your investment come back to you, and so that's where you got to work smarter, not harder. Just because you're throwing money at something doesn't mean it's going to come out.
Right.
And one thing I always heard as well too is that so this stems from KP was watching an episode of No Labels Necessary podcast.
Shout out to
Um,
Sean and Corey.
Exactly. I was actually just getting ready to say that, but yeah, shout out to them. But they were talking about how they have different programs and stuff like that. One of them is like $2,000 for a program, which me and KP have both taken.
Yeah.
And that's not an easy feat for us to invest $2,000 on some shit, but it's definitely been a benefit. But anyway, somebody basically, from what I gathered, they felt like once they spent that $2,000, they should start making money immediately. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you often see a lot of people do that. And one thing I've heard from one of my mentors is that people often confuse activity with accomplishment. So just because they're doing something that they should automatically be accomplishing things. But just because you're doing something doesn't mean you're doing the right things. And so that person's
I've had to learn that in the most difficult and heart-wrenching way. Believe me.
Yep. Yeah, and that happens to the best of us, and it's just one of those things you got to learn. And, that person was sitting there freaking out, flipping out or whatever. But, oh, man, y'all are playing, scamming people for $2,000 or whatever. And, like, nah, like, okay, maybe it's a little overpriced. But either way, like it's not a scam. Like the information that they give you is legit. The support that they have in there with it is legit. They don't, they may not get back to you within 5 minutes, but they'll get back to you within a day or so on a question or concern that you got.
Yeah.
They're decently timely for as busy as they are and as high profile as they are. So
and they get to know you. And the funny thing is that they do get to know you. You like I know Sean and Corey. Like I can hit them up and say, hey, what's going on, guys? How y'all doing? And we could just talk about the day, talk about shit, that's going on in life. Like they are very personable. They're very cool. And it's just, but the thing is, like, they tell you, and this, and I think we need to, something that we need to share as marketers is that, a lot of artists think that that most of us get out here and are just trying to make money off of the artists, or we just trying to we're what's the word I'm looking for? We're feasting off of artists, or trying to take advantage of them. I mean, let's talk pretty much every negative connotation there is that you could think of when it comes to the artist and marketers relationship. But here's the thing that you don't realize, artists, and this is also coming from two artists, right? When we're listening, when I got put onto the network to No Labels Necessary, the thing that grabbed me, number one, was, believe it or not, Sean and Corey were both artists. They were,
but Corey more so.
Corey more so. But it also but also looking at it from the perspective of Sean was always creative. So he was in technicality, he was an artist. He also played guitar. He also, you know what I'm saying, those things like that. And I really paid attention to what these guys, how they came up, right? And the thing is that they were artists. They were also fans of music, right?
Yeah, and they got their start by trying to help other people grow. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they started, but then they learned. They went to college. They started learning about biz. I think Sean ended up getting a degree in business or whatever. Like he got a degree. I know he's got a degree.
I know he's a tech person.
Yeah, he's a tech person. So
yeah, I know he's got like a computer science or something like that degree.
Mm-hmm. So he does. He has a degree. He's a college graduate, right? And then Corey, he ended up, leaving school, but he ended up getting into the business because he was a rapper. And then he realized, hey, man, I really don't want to do this. And then he started really getting more into the business side of it, learning different jobs in the business. Similar to what I did. I've done it longer as far as being an artist, but I did take that little bit of a break to learn about, like, I volunteered and learned about stage managing, actually learning how to stage manage, learning how to run the books, bookkeeping, the money, all that stuff. So I started learning about finances, booking shows, started learning about that stuff as well. And and eventually what ends up happening is that you start evolving. And if you want to still be an artist, learning all those things, learning those skills, learning how to market, understanding how McDonald's, and I'm going to repeat this a lot probably until the day I rest peacefully, which I probably won't rest peacefully, I know. But anyway, but look, man, let me tell you guys, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I say this because I want y'all to understand that if we as artists have to think like this, where it's like, when you look at McDonald's, okay, and I'm going to drive the McDonald's theory in your heads on this. They're not in the business of burgers. They're in the business of real estate and having a plan. Mm-hmm. Right? The plan was to serve.
They're all marketing.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're all marketing.
All marketing. Okay? So the same thing is that so the same principle that they apply, imagine that you now apply. So as we were talking about earlier, taking marketing in as an art.
Yeah.
A lot of us don't do that. Like, especially as artists, we look at it as an assignment, right? I
Yeah.
understood the assignment. Love that song, by the way. But but at the same time, if you do understand the assignment, if you will, you'll understand that marketing is an art. And it's also shout out to Jens the Guru, who made this very valid point. It's not we need to look at our marketing plan as a canvas. What do you want to paint? How do you want to paint the picture? Who are you trying to sell to? What do they look like? Paint the picture of the person you trying to sell to. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. If you look on Instagram, for example, all right, I see a lot of really cool pictures from artists, right? Even TikTok. But what I've seen is like there was one picture I saw of an avatar of a sister who was with a mohawk, a punk rock sister, mohawk with the microphone, the piercings and stuff, with the, you know what I'm saying? And it was that cartoon look though. It was animated. Right there. That's a target. Believe it or not. For me, as an older punk or an older metalhead, punk, jazzy type of artist, guess what? So my target would be people who's into weird and eclectic music. Yeah. Right. And I'm thinking about that as I'm writing, because I'm about to start writing my album. So guys, instead of always thinking from a perspective of, well, it's an assignment and oh man, I gotta learn this. I gotta learn with marketing, man. You gotta learn how to do this scam. It's like it's scamming. You gotta learn. No, you're not scamming people. It's an art that you are learning that after you're done writing your music, what are you going to do with it next?
All right, y'all. I just want to take a quick break right here to tell you about something hot and spicy. And no, I'm not talking about that Latina thing that you saw on Tinder the other day. I'm talking about hot sauce. And not just any hot sauce, but Tennessee Hot Sauce Co. All right? I personally know the owner of Tennessee Hot Sauce Company, and I've seen him grow this company from just something that he would sell a few bottles at the local farmer's market to something that can ship all across the United States now, all right? And you guys have a unique opportunity right now to save 20% by using the code MMCPOD when you check out on any order over at Tennessee Hot Sauce Company's website. All right, that's tnhotsauceco.com. Make sure y'all go check them out and use the code MMCPOD over at checkout and save 20%. You guys got to check this out. All right, they have all kinds of great flavors. My personal favorite is poblano jalapeno. It has a mild kick to it because I'm a little bit of a bitch when it comes to spices, but it has great flavor. I put it on all kinds of stuff. I put it on steaks. I put it on burgers when I'm cooking them. I put it on tacos and enchiladas, stuff like that as well too. But I've tried many of these other flavors like the garlic habanero and the honey habanero, the blood orange ghost, and the pineapple habanero. Now the pineapple habanero was one that really snuck up on me because it had a great sweet flavor of the pineapple, and it wasn't nothing overbearing, but it had a very good flavor to it. And then all of a sudden, boom, I got hit in the ass with a habanero, and I had to go grab some milk, all right? But these are some great flavors, and they have all kinds of different options. They have the collection, which has the full lineup of all 6 of their most popular sauces. They also have different subscription boxes. You have a 3-sauce option, a 4-sauce option, yearly and bi-yearly options available as well too for the boxes. Then you also have all kinds of other new flavors that they have that I've never tried yet. I actually got to get that shipment in here soon of the barrel-aged whiskey and the mustard dill scorpion. Those are 2 that look very interesting, and I want to try them out. One thing I did try is one of their new options that they have here, which is the poblano jalapeno beef jerky. But like I said, I love the poblano jalapeno sauce, and whenever I tried this jerky, no bullshit, I ate the whole bag before I can even sit down and shoot this promo right here, all right? And so luckily, I know the owner, like I said, so I got another bag on the way, but y'all gotta go check it out. And he also told me they got some more flavors coming out of the jerky turkey as soon as they get operations up and running on that brand new venture right there. All right. So again, make sure y'all go over tnhotsauceco.com, use promo code MMCPOD at checkout and save 20% on your order. And on top of that, orders $50 and over are free shipping in the United States. So again, make sure you go check this out. Small batch, small brand, but powerful flavors. Tennessee Hot Sauce Company. Now, let's get back to the show. Right. Well, and that kind of goes back to a couple episodes ago whenever you said that you got to create the visual before you create the actual music.
Right,
Because,
the content,
you know, yeah, marketing is a creative enterprise as well, too. It's
Right.
just it speaks to some people differently than other people,
Mhm.
you know, and when you're creating your music, like you said, a lot of people, they're just like, man, I just want to create only. I just want to create only. And for some people, that's good. But some other people, they're just being a little lazy with it because, you know, you be like, oh, I'm just an artist. I'm not a businessman. It's like, okay, I get that. But with the marketing, there's so many different creative elements, you know, like you said, what you just said, where you're trying to find the ideal person in business, that's called creating the customer avatar. Right. And so, you know, when you're when you're doing that, you're thinking, okay, who am I trying to reach? What type of person? Everything like that. Right. Mm-hmm. Well, with that, a lot of times you look within yourself and then you kind of go out from there.
I like that.
Do what?
Character avatar, your customer avatar.
Yeah, exactly. That, well, in business is customer avatar. With music is a fan avatar. But I mean, they're still a customer because they're consuming your music. Whether you give it out for free or they pay for it, they're still consuming your music. You know, and you know, you got to make sure you put it out in front of the right people, because that's one thing I see a lot in the hip hop realm where I delve in, is that you'll see a lot of artists who will have a bunch of artists on their fan base or whatever, because they try follow for follow scams, right? Mm-hmm. And so next thing they know, now their whole audience is mainly other artists. And so, you know, yeah, you're going to have some artists that will legitimately go out there and, you know, show love to other artists by listening to their music, saving it, sharing it, stuff like that. But most of the time, you're in a room with a bunch of other people and you're like, hey, man, you should check out my music. And they're like, oh, okay, cool, check out my music. And you're like, yeah, but check out my music. And they're not check out my music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you're in a room of producers trying to make them into consumers. Yeah. You know, it's kind of like the old adage, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Well, you can't turn a seller into a buyer. You know what I'm saying? Even though, especially when they're selling the same exact thing that you're selling, right? So in sales as well too, they say that the easiest person to sell to is a salesman, because they're so used to projecting all the sales tactics that they don't always see the sales tactics come back. And also, since they're so used to projecting and leading other people down the sales journey, mm-hmm. once the sales journey starts getting put onto them, they just fall in line, because because when they're on the leading end, they're on the sales end, mm-hmm. they're getting the person to follow through, and so then they're going down that journey with the customer, right? So when they are the customer, they could just go right down the journey, right? Yeah. But the thing is that, you know, you can't do that to somebody selling the same thing, you know,
absolutely.
And so yeah, whenever you are going out there, you got to find, like, if you make, you know, boom bap raw conscious hip hop, you got to go to areas, you got to find people who are those hip hop snobs, those hip hop heads, you know what I'm saying? Those people who will critique all of your bars and tell you where you fucked up. And, you know, all those people who know, like, the address, the day, and the time that hip hop started with, you know, oh, what was the address, day, and time that Kool Herc threw his first fucking thing, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, all that shit. I know
even
people
looking
like
at
that.
what they, and even looking at what they dress like, because a lot of because they have a different, those guys have a different style. Right. And I mean, even though you got you know, you got Griselda, who does have more like the chains and stuff because they're repping the streets. But at the same time, you can see within that realm, like the difference between JPEG Mafia and Griselda. Right. You can see the difference, even though they're both underground type of artists. There's a difference in their style.
Yeah,
And
and since hip hop is a worldwide culture, there is so many different styles and subcultures within it as well too. So like for instance, at the same time that you got you know like I'm thinking about people up on my wall, right? So everybody, a lot of people wearing baggy shit and everything like that. You got K Slave right here, you got Master P right here, Papoose right here. That's with the extra big tees and the extra big pants and everything like that, right? Well, at the same time that a lot of this was going on, you
look at those
also
three
had
styles right there, though. Look
well,
at those.
there's that,
They got three different styles too. Like Papoose has
yeah.
a totally different rhyme style than the other two you just mentioned.
Well, I'm talking about just like the clothing, the appearance,
Right.
because for instance, Pat and them, and K Slay, what I'm saying, they were wearing Timbs and fucking, North Face jackets and stuff like that. Well, Master P and C Murder and, Wayne and Juvenile and shit, they were wearing jabots with fucking, tall tees and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then also around the same time, you had Lupe Fiasco and them start coming out wearing skater shit. You know what I'm saying? I remember just a few years ago, there was the whole fucking skinny jean phase that was going through hip hop. And you would see motherfuckers with jeans that were tight on their legs, but still
sagging.
falling off their ass.
Yep,
yeah, still falling off their ass. And I was like, all right, whatever, and I get it to an extent, but like there's so many different styles that come through with the fashion, just like there is with the music. And that's because everybody's different, and so when you figure out who your audience is, or at least bare minimum when you're starting out, figure out who you want your audience to be. I'd recommend people that have similar interests to you. That's why at the beginning I was saying something about start a podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you like, for instance, right, Immortal Technique would have blown the fuck up if he would have had a podcast.
Yeah, because if especially with the way he talks and things like that. Yeah, I totally can see that.
And see, the thing is that like, he's doing his other things, everything like that. I'm not going to shit on him for not really being a part of hip hop and music anymore. But he released Revolutionary Volume 1 and 2, which are right there above me, right above Snoop Dogg and Wu-Tang right there.
Word.
On the wall behind me. But he released Revolutionary Volume 1 and 2, and then, the media of the time in the early 2000s, there wasn't social media and podcasts yet. So what he was doing is he was going on, news shows and talking about things and everything like that. And then when social media did come, he started Technique Tuesdays, where he would go live on Tuesdays and talk about all kinds of shit or whatever. But he was he's a very political person with his music and with his outside of music stuff.
Yeah.
He had his whole thing where he was going and helping building schools in Afghanistan and everything like that.
Yeah, he's a very strong activist. Very much a
strong activist. Yeah, when Occupy Wall Street came out, he was right there. He was right on the streets with everything like that and everything, so a lot of that kind of stuff. Well, if podcasts would have been available at that time, he would have been one of the top political podcasts of the time.
Oh yeah.
He absolutely would have been. And it would have reflected in his album sales growing as well too, because that is who he is, and he was attracting people who gave a fuck about that stuff. Like, I first started undoing a lot of the brainwashing that I had, from whenever I was in the military. I was in Iraq when I first heard Immortal Technique.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And whenever I first heard, Revolutionary Volume 1 and 2, I heard Revolutionary Volume 2 first, and then I heard 1. But anyway, when I first heard, Fourth Branch and, some of the other tracks out there, I can't think off the top of my head, but when I first heard those, I'm sitting there listening to the content, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So then I started doing my research, and I'm like, damn. And it started opening my eyes to something totally different with politics. And he's on more of a socialist bend than I am with some of the other politics, but with, his anti-war and everything like that kind of stance, anti-corruption, I'm right there with him on that. But, but either way, his group of people that he wanted to be his people were people who were conscious people who love, I said people 45 times, but they love talking politics and talking change, and, they're anti-corruption, they're anti-establishment, they're anti-control, stuff like that. That's the type of people. yeah, they're activists in some way,
Strong
shape, or
activist,
form.
left wing, more like that left wing style activism.
Hmm. Yeah, no, yeah, he was a positive bend on the left wing before it went way too far,
Yeah.
but he yeah, so I was right there with him it was during the end of the Bush, beginning of the Obama years, and I was right there with him on a lot of that stuff. But like I was saying, him having a podcast, he could have blown the fuck up because he knew his audience. So if you're into that kind of stuff, starting a podcast as soon as you start putting your music out, and then doing stuff like that, like Pasha, for instance, right? When I went on YNet 7 a few weeks ago with Pasha Pero, right? He has a podcast that's all about higher thinking and changing your life and being independent, all kinds of stuff like that. And so he also makes music too on the side, and his music is geared towards that kind of stuff as well too. So if your music, for instance, is all about looking fresh and fly and being super clean and got you Gucci this and all that kind of shit, start a podcast about fashion. You know what I'm saying? Start even if it's just like a little small like daily vlog, right? Like for instance, one of my kids, I don't know if he still watches them anymore, but he used to watch this one. He's technically a fitness influencer, but all of his stuff is just about what outfit he's wearing today.
Okay.
Like it's weird because like you could tell he goes to the gym, right? Because he'd start off with like no shirt on, right? And so he's like jacked.
Showing off
then
the
like
body.
there's that, right? And so then he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna wear these shoes with these pants and then this shirt or whatever, and then when I go to the gym later I got this with that and everything like that, right? And so he's all talking about his fashion and everything like that because he's really big on that. But then at the same time he's like, I'm going to the gym, you know what I'm saying? So then it kind of like it all ties together. So if you're big on fashion, and your music is about a lot of that kind of stuff, I'm so fresh, so clean, like Outkast, so fresh and so clean, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, then you are going to do good talking about that. Just to start, right? If it evolves into something else, it evolves into something else, right? You never know. Yeah, you never know, because you could start doing like a daily vlog about what you're wearing on your way out. Next thing you know, you're charging people $20, $40, $50 a month to help them go through their fucking outfit, their wardrobe, get their wardrobe straight.
Yeah.
You could be a fashion consultant, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Whether they're hip hop, you can start with hip hop fashion consultant, and you kind of brand out from there. You can do that. You can even start creating your own, and this is what goes back to like a week or two ago when I was saying create your own merchandise, but actually just create your own clothing line. It's not about you or nothing. It's a totally separate entity. You know what I'm saying? Like, my name's Harkos, but I got a whole clothing line over here called fucking, I don't know, drywall sheets or something. I'm saying, I don't know. It came up with the first thing that popped in my head. I just looked at my wall, right? But you got a whole clothing line. You got a whole clothing line. For those of y'all listening, KP's looking at me all crazy.
I'm looking at you. No, I'm looking at you because what hit me was when you said that, I was thinking in my head, what would be something that would fit you and something that you do, something that is like that you, and then you came up with drywall.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, I'm like, all right, if you're thinking like that, if you're thinking about that, like what made you think drywall? Was it because you constantly look at your walls and you have you look at the way it's designed, right? Because like what hit me was, if you look at drywall like drywall lo-fi drywall concept or drywall concept, right? Something like that. Like being able to look at it from the background, like it's like here you have this canvas, and then you're able to put those murals up there. Like that's what like went through my head.
That's pretty dope. I just looked in front of me and I saw the wall. But no, like with the merchandise, it has nothing to do with you. It's just fashionable. Like you said, it's a canvas. So maybe you're good with art, right? So you create a clothing line that like is better than Basquiat looking shit, right? And it's got all these, crazy cool designs on it and different colors and everything like that. And you got the shirt. You start out coming out with shirts, and then you come out with pants to match, and then you got fucking fits, and you got different things, like you got jackets and stuff like that, right? You kind of branch off from there. Next thing you know, yeah, you're making that music that you love making, but then you also have turned another one of your passions into something that is helping you create an independent lifestyle. But then also, you're sitting here helping a bunch of people with the same passion that you have. You know what I'm saying? And that's what creating your own fan avatar is about whenever you're trying to figure out how to market your music. And that is a highly creative entity. So a lot of people are like, oh man, that's that business bullshit. It's so boring. It's like, nah, man. It's very, very creative. Like whenever I have consultations with artists and stuff like that, I'll say something off the top of my head. They're like, damn, man, I never thought about that. That's highly creative. And I'm like, yeah, I'm using my creativity in multiple different ways. I make music, but also I come up with creative ways to do all kinds of other shit. I think outside the box with things.
Yeah, and like, cause here's a cool one too. Like, and always like we have this tendency that when we think about it, it's like we always want to look at the numbers, like how many people are going to be paying attention. Right. But it's not always that. It's who's paying attention. Cause just
it's
this
not the quantity. Quantity is the quality.
Right. But also it's what are you targeting? Like here, for example, I had posted. And if you saw one of my posts on Instagram where I was playing my drums and I had on my white linen Joseph Abode blazer. But what I ended up doing was I ended up tagging the clothes, the companies that I was wearing. Mm-hmm. And next thing I know, Paisley and Gray, one of the companies that I tagged, ends up putting me in a reel in one of their stories.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying, guys. When you're paying it, when you're targeting, when you're doing that, you target. If you're gonna target who you want. And if they're seeing you constantly putting out cool looking content, they're gonna pay attention.
Right. And exactly the constant portion, because you can't just do it once and then be done, because you've been doing that a lot. What I'm saying? When you tag all kinds of people when you're doing all kinds of things and everything like that, and a lot of the times it doesn't hit. What I'm saying? You may not get Paisley and whatever it was called. I don't know fashion, Gray. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Paisley and Gray. All right. Mm-hmm. You're not getting Paisley and Gray. They may put you into a reel and stuff like that. They're kind of like testing you and stuff like that. They're seeing that content that you're putting out. They appreciate it. They reciprocate a little bit. But they didn't immediately reach out to you and be like, hey, KP, I'd like to give you $50,000 up front plus, $4,000 a month to be our brand ambassador.
Right.
Right. You didn't come up with and say that out of nowhere, right? But they happen to notice. But even if they didn't notice, well, other people who like Paisley and whatever the fuck, Paisley and Gray, yeah, I keep wanting to say Paisley and Pride for some reason. Paisley and Gray, but people who like that, they're looking for stuff like that as well too. So even if Paisley and Gray didn't repost you, they would still find that kind of stuff, and then they'd be like, "Oh, cool. Oh, I like music too. Oh, that's pretty cool." Or they just may be like, "Oh, that's cool that he's Dapper Dan the Mohawk Man on his drums." You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. So it starts building that resonation, and like what we were talking about before the show, going back a little bit to that person who was bitching about spending $2,000. Sometimes, especially in the hip hop realm, it'll be people who are supposedly street cats out here grinding, hustling, and everything like that, and they got all this money, but then they bitch about spending $2,000 on something and them not seeing an immediate return off of that. Well, I take that back to, in the dope game, you almost always see an immediate return on your investment. The only time that you could take a loss is if you get robbed,
feds on you, or the feds on you,
or the cops get you. You know what I'm saying? When either you get robbed, you get killed, or you get put in jail. Those are like the only times you really take a loss. Other than that, when you go buy however much product, you go out and you flip it, and you make however much you're supposed to make off of it. You know what I'm saying? You make that return, and you keep doing it. So people, when they live that kind of a lifestyle, whether it's that or even if it's not illegal stuff, if you you're doing something else where you get a 1-for-1 return, you don't really notice any losses.
Yeah, the customer ain't always right what y'all do. I mean, let's keep it 100, right?
There's that too. But like, there's that as well. But you're not risk adverse. You don't know how to take a chance. So whenever you do go out on a limb to take a chance, now all of a sudden you don't know how to handle the fact that you just lost, either all or a little. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go and put $2,000 into a marketing budget for a month, right? And then you only get, a few thousand streams off of it or something like that, or you maybe only get an extra 100 followers on your social media or your YouTube or whatever it is. You're like, damn, man, I just paid $2,000 for 100 more people to follow me. It's like, you're looking at a 1-for-1. You can't look at that. It's a long-term shit. It's a marathon, like Nipsey Hussle said. Like a lot of people say, it's that long-term shit. You know what I'm saying? You don't see Warren Buffett out here fucking day trading all day every day and worrying about penny stocks and shit like that. He's that long-term
shit. Yeah, he that long.
Exactly.
Money, long-term.
That long-term shit, right? And he started out long-term as well too. Not to discount day trading, but it's different vibes,
Right.
All right, y'all, Harco's here. I just wanted to take a quick little break from the episode to let every single one of you artists know about a great opportunity for you to grow your online presence through blogs and social media for 30 days for only $10. If you've already been checking out the podcast, I've already talked about this a little bit here and there, but I created 10 blog websites that all have their own social media presence on Twitter and Facebook, and they are growing leaps and bounds, getting tens of thousands of impressions and eyeballs every single month. And that's just not in total, that's every single account. I have a full video breakdown available for this on every platform where you're listening to this right here, right now. The episode is called How Much Marketing Can $10 Get You? All right, I go through a full explanation of it, but if you've already watched that and you want to find out more, go ahead and go to musicmakingsensepod.com, send me a message in chat, and I will get right back to you, and we will get this rocking and rolling and get you growing on social media, especially if you want to grow that presence on Twitter or X. This will definitely help you out. Like I said, I got 10 blog websites with 10 different Twitter accounts that have tens of thousands of impressions every single month. You can be right there with them, getting all those eyeballs and growing your presence online. So make sure you hit me up right now, musicmakingsensepod.com. Hit the chat button and send me a message, and we will get you on point with this great new promotion. All right, let's get back to the episode. So whenever you look at marketing, it's that long-term creative process. I mean, when you're an artist, when you create that first song that you create, it's not the one that makes you a millionaire immediately as soon as you put it out. It doesn't work like that. And so a lot of artists know it doesn't work like that with their music.
Right.
So you also got to realize it doesn't work like that with your marketing either, because the marketing is just another creative portion of that musical career that you have, that you want.
Yeah.
And you were quoting something out of that book to me before we started. KP's got a book. What's the name of that book again, man?
This is Writing Production Music for Television by Steve Barden. Yeah, shout out to Steve, man. Big, I met him at the rally. The taxi
road rally. Yeah, you got that book and you met him.
Yeah,
so
but
to tie that in,
loved it.
There you go.
He signed it. Yeah, love the fact that he signed this baby for me, guys. So they're right there.
Absolutely.
Bam.
But all the best.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so in here you were telling me a little quote thing, and it kind of ties right into that with finding the right vibe to everything. When you're in that zone, you're finding the people that vibe with you. It's about that mood. It's about that tone. It's about that resonance that you vibe with other people. What was he saying in there?
And it says, it's a quote on the first chapter I started reading. He says, it's a short history of music in film and TV. And it quotes, a film is or should be more like music than like fiction. It should be a progression of moods and feelings. The theme, what's behind the emotion, the meaning, all that comes later. Stanley Kubrick. Yeah, Kubrick.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to say, and then as Steve starts to write, says music as an emotional tool. It says if you ever got the opportunity, or if you ever get the opportunity, apologies, y'all. If you ever get the opportunity to watch a scene from a movie before the music track is added, do it. It's one of the most eye-opening experiences you can have as a composer. So now, guys, get to your mindset as a composer as we're talking, as I'm reading this. All right. When most people, civilians, regular people, non-music listeners, non-composers, but says civilians, not composers, watch a movie, they are often unaware that there is music being played in the background. Just ask them, what do you think of the score, or what do you think of the music score? And you might get the answer, there was music. I've actually seen that happen before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've actually had that happen before too.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people, when you're watching a movie, you don't always notice the music because we're so used to the music. You know, whether you have that anticipatory build up or you got the chase music or whatever it is, you don't necessarily notice it. You may notice the music on like the intro, like the beginning of Fast and Furious, whenever you got the music that you're coming into or whatever, stuff like that. But you don't always notice the music, or like what you said before pre-show on Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, whenever he goes into that metal show and Cannibal Corpse is in there, and he's walking in and he's all like, he has hand on his stomach, he's like dancing totally different, but that's when you notice the music whenever it's a major part of the scene. But when it's something in the background, you got the type of stuff. Whenever you're sitting there trying to go, you hear all the sound effects and stuff like that, but you don't necessarily notice the musical score behind it. And like what you were saying, and so
score.
But that's and so
that
that's
is the musical score.
Yeah, right. And that's what puts the mood behind it. So exactly. it creates the mood for what else is going on. And so when you're creating content for your music, you want it to be in a similar situation as well too.
Yeah. So here's the thing he says, and he says, the thing is, here's the funny thing, but not us. And I'm going to go back to a movie I want to talk that's going to bring us right to, that's going to hit us right in the stomach when I say this. All right. But it says not us. As composers, we are constantly aware of music's presence. Because of our interest in writing music for film, we analyze how the music is working in the scene. But does it mean in those moments when we don't hear the music, does it mean that we failed as composers, as musicians, as artists? No. It means that the composer did a superb job of writing music that was felt and not heard. Okay. Beautiful example. So let's think about it like this, guys. And I'm quite sure y'all have heard this in even Kiss has said, Gene Simmons from Kiss, is basses and vocalists from Kiss said this too, that the best parts are always, it's not always what you hear, but it's always what you don't hear, those little subtle notes like ghost notes within the sound, right? And even the rest, like the certain rest, like when you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, right there where I got that rest at 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So you got that right there. Now, when you think about the parts, also you think of jazz. When you think of the kick drum in jazz, it's felt, not heard, right? That's where you get that feel. That's where you get that analogy from as well. So when you look at a movie like Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, every song in that, right now I can close my eyes and remember just about every part of that film score because of the way how fascinating it was. Superman, was another one. Okay, Batman. Batman. That soundtrack was impeccable, right? But we're just talking about the film score. The Color Purple was another great film score. The movie screwed me up, but a great film score. Okay, The Crow, another great soundtrack, but also a phenomenal film score. But when I remember listening to Star Wars, and like I said, I remember how just even when the Empire Strikes Back, that that's when
you're like, oh shit, the Emperor's all
yeah,
the way.
dude, I tell you, nigga, tell me you did not go, you didn't walk in, you did not think, you were like, I am
yeah, exactly.
you felt the power, you felt the energy, you felt the superiority, you felt the sage of Darth Vader. But then when Luke got his hand chopped off, and then when we saw Return of the Jedi, we hear that dun 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 dun. We were like, I'm back. I'm ready to go. I'm right. It was that feeling that we got. It was the energy. It was like, yes, we see it. Even when the Ewoks part was playing, the little music that and they coming out looking all right. We captured those moments because of the music. We didn't think about it, but those subtle moments within our sound. He's right. Within the movie, we heard it. Lando Calrissian. When he came out, when he caught Han Solo, saved his life. That part right there, it was like, whoa, you remember it, and the music behind it, and when it Boba Fett, right? You remember those parts because it was just because it was that sound, it was that moment. So yes. When we think about our music, and I think, and Sean touched on this, man. For artists, the reason I'm using sync licensing for an example is because I want y'all to think about it like this. With sync, and this is the one thing I'm starting to learn with it, is even as if I'm looking at fans, right? And what we were talking about, the avatar. You have an emotion. Right? And it says it right here. Music as an emotional tool. People have emotions. When we heard that boy Lantana, shout out to him, when he said that, when I looked in his eyes, that moment when he was talking about how he's in the club and he's seeing how these young people are looking, he said, man, we straight up vibing off of motherfucking murder music. The way he said that, if you look at the expression on his face, he's speaking of the music and the emotion that it's causing.
Yep.
I want y'all to think about that.
Yeah, because music creates a mood. You know, going back to White Man Can't Jump, you don't hear Jimmy, you feel Jimmy.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's the thing, is that music is always there for a mood, and a lot of big music heads who use music as a therapy, you know, to get through tough times or whatever the situation is. You know, when you use music, you're using it to help you with that mood. You know, you listen to like upbeat, hard hitting shit whenever you're at the gym, or when you're working outside or whatever, you're listening to something that puts you in like a zone or whatever. You know, like for instance with me, sometimes when my anxiety gets really, really high and I'm at work or whatever, or wherever I'm at, when my anxiety starts getting high, I actually have, it's like a 4-hour long YouTube video that I listen to that is Star Wars music. It's all the Star Wars scores. And so it's sitting there, you can hear like all the stuff like when he's on Dagobah and stuff like that. You can hear like the sounds and stuff like that. Like you can hear the sound effects of the animals and the crickets and stuff like that as well too. Yeah. And then you hear and it transitions. And basically the one I have, it kind of goes from like episode 4 all the way to the end of 6, you know, so it has all the highs and the lows and everything like that, and it's really really cool. But dude, whenever I put that on, I just start feeling like the breeze. I feel that weight lift off of me, and I can just feel the breeze again. I'm just like, ah.
Yeah.
And that's because not only is it good music, but it creates a mood, you know. And the one I have, it doesn't do the Empire music, you know, but it's like the chill version of all the chill music out of Star Wars. But that's one thing with me as well too, is that previously, before I found this, what I would do whenever I was having high anxiety or whatever, like I'd have like a really stressful day, I'd come home, I just turn on Star Wars. Star Wars was like my go-to. Then for a little while, I was having a hard time sleeping. Star Wars helped me sleep. You know what I'm saying? Because of the emotion and the connectivity that I have, where like, you know, I'm sure if there's a psychiatrist listening, he'd probably be like, oh, well, it's because, you know, it took you back to your childhood when things were more simple. Okay, maybe, right? Because that's when I started watching Star Wars, right, when I was a kid. But like, no, but like I like Star Wars. I like the whole vibe of I like the whole big story of it. I like the intricacies as well too with it. But I like the whole big story. I just love it, right? And so I can put Star Wars on. I can start with episode 1. I can start with episode 4. I can start with episode 7. It doesn't matter, right? And I could be asleep in moments, and I can just immediately be asleep. I can be calm, and I can sleep the whole night. I can leave the TV on. And it won't really wake me up hardly ever, right? Unless, you know, like the high volume like fight scenes or whatever might wake me up a smidge or whatever, but like it just puts me out. And so then, you know, whenever I'm not at my house where I can just, you know, waste time watching a movie, I just put that on in the background and good. Sometimes when I'm having high stress and anxiety and I'm working on the computer on stuff or whatever, even if I'm editing video, what I'll do is there's another one that's like Jedi meditation music or whatever, right? And it actually, there's one that's actually the one that I like better is the Sith one, because the Sith one, it has like a low tone. It just goes, oh, right? And so it's just like that, like almost the whole time, right? And so that frequency hits something inside of me, because music is all about frequencies. Well, that frequency hits something inside me, and then I just zone into what I'm doing. I'm just going, right?
Right.
So sometimes my head, you know, I'll be sitting there just like trying to process too many things at once, and that'll help me just kind of chill and get into that zone, you know. And so music has that effect, you know. Exactly. music has that effect, you know. And that's, as an artist, that's what you need to do when you're creating your music, as well as when you market your music, you know. Like that one female artist you used to work with, Katie or whatever her name was.
Yeah, Katie.
Yeah. So her whole vibe, correct me if I'm wrong, but her whole vibe was like that intelligent, introverted black girl who liked the calm, delicate things, right, or something like that. Like she liked like being in nature, writing, you know, listening to the sounds of nature and stuff like that, cooking, stuff like that, right? So her music actually had that same vibe with it as well. You know what I'm saying? And so all the people that end up liking her are in a similar tone in some way, shape, or form. You know, they may not be 100% that intelligent, introverted black girl. They may be, you know, an intelligent, extroverted white girl, but they still like the same kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the same vibe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the same vibe. You know, they still resonate with her on at least one level, if not multiple levels.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like when people talk about politics, they're like, I like so and so, and then people are like, oh, you like everything? It's like, no, I don't like everything that person likes. I don't like everything that I like sometimes, right? Like, you're never going to agree with somebody 100%. They may be your political person, right? But you're not going to agree with everything that they do. You know what I'm saying? You just try to find a good amount of things that you're liking them about. Same with music, right? Mm-hmm. When you're an artist and you're trying to get out to fans, you want fans to at least like you, you know, 5%. They're not going to like you 100%. And you don't want people to like you 100%, because that's when you get the crazy stalker stans. You know what I'm saying? Those are the ones that go off the rails. You just want somebody at least 50%.
And the thing is, like, if the more, and you have to say that the less you stay away from super controversial things, Like when I look at checking out Aaron Jones, shout out to Aaron, but he's a rock musician from Seattle, young brother. Um, but he stays away from a lot of the political um arguments and identity politics and things like that. And I understand why. And he doesn't really like when Black Lives Matter came out. I was definitely one that was on to Black Lives Matter. Like I was one who was speaking out, being very much advocate. Like, yes, Black Lives Matter. Fuck with all you think. Like I really was, especially within metal. But
Right.
for him, it was, he has that he has a very pretty much a predominantly strong white audience. And I understood why he didn't go off on the deep end like I did,
Yeah.
And I'm saying that as far as just because I understand where he was going, right? And what he's doing. For me, on the other hand, I realized, and I even thought about this like within my own, just like dealing with my incident at Men's Warehouse where I was totally out of line. But I realized that there was a part of that, and when I went through that, I started looking at brand archetypes. And this is another thing, guys. You got to start looking at who are you, right? Number one, I got a motherfucking mouth on me. Let's get that there, okay? Number two, I am rebellious. So my brand has an outlawish. Yeah, it does. I have an outlawish brand. And I've come to realize that. All right. So because of that, rather than me try to appeal to Aaron's group audience, even though I got a song called Let It Rain where I say, hey, because I'm thinking of a current rock star here, and it's Aaron Jones. So I did give a big up to him in the song because I love his music, by the way. But I do realize with that, I was like, I realized like I do have a separate type of audience. I'm very much, like I said, I have a mouth on me. I'm rebellious, and I am very fucking weird and eclectic. I get that. But him, he has that more mainstream audience. I'm also damn near going to be 50 years old. So, so I was looking at that and I started realizing like, okay, if I want to appeal to the audience that I want now, not the audience that I had when I was in Under the Red Door, Beyond Theory, John Mayer, all the bands that I was in, right? I look at who I am now, where I'm at now. Where am I at as an artist? Where's my mindset? What do I'm thinking of? How am I writing music now? Right? And that's what you have to think about. So understanding brands, and this is where where marketing is such an important thing. It's like when you understand marketing, you start understanding how you operate as an artist and where you need to go, instead of trying to make up something or trying to push yourself onto something that's not you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, you got to be yourself. You got to be real raw with it and just be true to yourself.
Mm-hmm. And that's what marketing helps you do. That's why marketing gives you that edge, just like you were talking about with when you listen to Star Wars, right? Now, it's able to
the thing is when you're marketing, I see a lot of people that will do the opposite. They'll try to be something that they're not in order to promote their music. Or even in their music, they'll try to be something that they're not. That's why I always tell people, just be raw, real, be 100% true. Be you. Obviously, being in the entertainment business, you're going to be a caricature of yourself, which means that you accentuate certain parts of yourself that you want highlighted more than other parts. Like if you're like me, you're kind of introverted or whatever. Well, when you hop on the mic and stuff, you're a little extra. You know what I'm saying, with it. Because you want to accentuate something about yourself and bring something out, but you're not being 100% fake with it. And so when you have your marketing, in order to reach a real audience of people that are going to rock with you, you need to be real and raw with everything that you have, with your marketing, with your music, everything like that, you know?
Yep.
And that's something I see a lot of people not do. And that's why you just need to do it, you know? It's a very creative, it's a very creative process with not just creating your music, but also marketing. And if you are not being as creative as possible, then you are going to fail.
All right, y'all, let me take a quick break right here to tell you about something that's completely fucking ridiculous, okay? It's called horribledesigns.com. And I personally know the owner, and he's just as ridiculous as this whole fucking company is, okay? If you or someone you know loves stickers and mugs and shirts with crazy, outlandish sayings on them that just are designed to catch people's attention out in public and get them to laugh and point and ask you, hey, where'd you get that t-shirt, or where'd you get that sticker, when they see it on your car and stuff like that, y'all got to go check out horribledesigns.com. At horribledesigns.com, they have all kinds of ridiculous sayings on stickers and coffee mugs, t-shirts, vinyl stickers, magnets, and even mouse pads, okay? And I'm telling you, if you guys have not checked out horribledesigns.com, you got to go check it out, because some things are straight up great, like the American Muscle mouse pad. It's got some awesome pictures of great muscle cars if you're into cars, or you know somebody who's into muscle cars and they need some great mouse pad to have while they're on the computer working. But then they also have dumbass fucking t-shirts that say things like, are you staring at my ass, with a picture of a donkey on it, or stickers that say, are you staring at my beaver, with a picture of a beaver on it. Stuff like that, man. Completely ridiculous shirts and stickers, coffee mugs, everything like that. Anything that you could ever think about having just to get people's attention, make a statement out in public, and just completely be ridiculous, and to do it with some horrible designs at the exact same time. And like I said, I know the owner, so he hooked us up with a great deal where you can save right now by using the link below in the description. Whenever you go there and shop, you will not only support Music Making Sense podcast, but you also get a great deal on any and everything that you decide to purchase every time that you use that link right there in the description below. So make sure you go check that out right now, horribledesigns.com. Use the link below in order to get good savings. Go check it out. Buy some ridiculous shit for yourself or someone you know. All right, now let's get back to the show.
Yeah.
You know?
If you can't convince me that you're Darth Vader, if you say you that type of motherfucker, you're Darth. If you can't convince me, then I'm just gonna look at you like, oh man, this nigga just. All right.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean that's a big thing with the hip hop space, is people fronting like they're something that they're not and everything like that. And it's like, oh, you'll see people like, on a music video talking about how they got it or whatever, and they have a stack of money and stuff. But then like you as a marketer or whatever, you reach out to them, or like even as another artist, you reach out to them to do any kind of business together or whatever. Well, like they're not wanting to invest any money because they don't have any money. You're like, okay, so what was that? Was that just your re-up money? Was that a bunch of fake show money? Because you can go buy that movie money or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can buy that fake shit. Was it that? Like, I thought you're sitting here saying that you got it and you're flipping things, everything like that. It's like, come on, let's do some business then. Get that money working for you instead of working for your money.
And it's like even like when we're talking about this too, man. I mean, the emotional tool. Rest his soul, but we look at King Von. I'm gonna and let me speak on King Von and even FBG Duck, like rest all their souls. And I want to talk about this. Why? Because I want y'all understand marketing and branding. Okay, when you look at them, since we're speaking of archetypes. Their archetypes are straight up outlaw. Straight the fuck up. And they didn't pull any bullshit with us when it came to that brand. That's what grabbed our emotions. Let's think about, look at Charleston White, right? We look at Charleston White. Why? He's talking about F King. He's saying all this stuff about them, right? Why? Because it's easy to grab an emotion. Emotions sell. And here's why. And I'm going to tell y'all why. Not because because emotions are real. They sell because they're real.
Well, and then also too, there's a psychology behind it, right?
The crowd psychology behind, definitely.
Yeah. Well, then there's also influence and persuasion psychology, right? So if you can get somebody's resting heart rate to be above 100 beats per minute, they can no longer think rationally, and so therefore you can put anything into their mind that you want, right?
Just like when they're aroused.
Yeah,
well,
there's that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Once your heart rate is up so high, you can't think irrationally at all. So whether you get somebody angry or sexually aroused or whatever it is, you get their heart rate up by it, whatever means. Now you can manipulate them to do whatever you need to. Politicians do it a lot. They use fear as their tactic. And for those of y'all, I'm not going to go too deep in politics, but y'all want to watch a dope documentary on the politics of fear, it's called The Power of Nightmares. It was a BBC documentary that was created in like 2006-ish, somewhere in there. It's a 3-part thing, right? The first part was like it took place like, you know, in like the 40s or 50s or whatever, and then it ends up all the way into like modern day with, you know, well, not modern day now, but modern day then with like 9/11, the whole war on terror and everything like that. So it starts out with like the base psychology of it, and it kind of grows into what happened after 9/11 and everything like that, yada yada. I can do a whole podcast about that shit. But anyway,
yeah.
But if you watch the first one, it really, really helps you get into that mindset that like politicians started using fear. So basically what it goes off of is that politicians used to offer something better to people, right? You know, like FDR, the New Deal, and, you know, stuff like that. People were always trying to offer a better world. You know, hey, elect me and I'll change things for the better, you know?
Right.
But then they started realizing that didn't move people as much as fear does. You know, if you don't elect me, so-and-so is going to get elected, and then we're going to lose everything, right? And I'm not just talking about current day politics. I'm talking about that's been politics for at least 30, 40 years, right? You know, they started using the politics of fear. And then when they want you to do certain things, when they want to go to war in a certain place, when they want to fund a certain thing, whatever it is, they use fear in order to manipulate you. Well, that's because when you're fearful, you're highly suggested because your resting heart rate's up, right? And so that's why the emotion in the music, like when you're talking about somebody saying, fuck so-and-so, that's why beef music went so good in hip-hop for a while, and it still kind of does, is because, you know, you hit people right in their feelings. Now their heart rate gets up, and now they're suggestible, and you can kind of get them to manipulate and stuff like that. You can get them to take action. You know, you can be like, hey, so-and-so's over here talking shit about me and everything. All y'all that are with me, y'all know what's real, everything like that. Let's go get at these motherfuckers. I want you to, like, shitpost contest or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever it is. You can get people to move. You know what I'm saying?
Or you can get them to do a dance.
With guns. Yeah, or a dance, yeah. Or you can be with guns, whatever. You know, don't recommend guns. But, you know what I'm saying? You can do all kinds of different things. But then you can also move people with that kind of... It's not... So manipulation is a misconstrued term, right? A lot of people use manipulation for a negative, right? But you can use manipulation for a positive.
Right, and that's why I tried to throw it, because here's the thing. Like, as you were speaking, because we were speaking about King Von, like I said, rest their souls. But
Right.
What ended up happening was that we started getting into where we started mostly shifting it towards the negative. And that's why I said dance, because also it can make us want to dance. It can also make us fall in love. It can make us make a difference in the world. When we do have that fear, when we see people who use those fear tactics, we have people who are saying, no, counter. Right, they're using counterfeit tactics. They're trying to use that. So what we're trying to say is basically with this, guys, is when it comes to you as an artist, all right, and whatever direction you go, whether you want to make people dance, I'm not going to say whatever direction you want them to go. Let me say this, okay? Whatever you're truly feeling, and you put it out there, you're gonna put it out there, and understand that when you put it out there, know what it is.
Yeah.
That's why marketing
know,
is
yeah,
important, because you
exactly.
have to know, all right, look, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm cheerful, I'm serious, I'm focused, I'm inspired, I'm creative, I'm frugal, I'm wise, I'm ignorant, I'm blissful. All those feelings, those emotions, those things. I'm hellish, I'm
Yeah.
heavenly, right? You have to know exactly who you are and who you are going to target.
Yep.
Because the people who are heavenly are not going to target, they're not going to fuck with you if you are hellish. Same goes for people who are hellish. They're not going to fuck with you if you're heavenly. Unless they're trying to see, unless both of y'all are trying, there's a certain thing that's going on where let me speak on it. If the heavenly person is just getting tired and they're starting to get into that world, or the hellish person is getting tired of being in that space, so they want to transition. Okay. And there may be moments they meet together, but it depends on how you paint that picture. Now you can do both, but remember, where are you going with it? Are you tired, or are you if you're tired, okay, let me say that. If you're tired, then which direction are you going to go?
Yeah,
And that's the way
absolutely.
you have to do it. It's the same thing. It's like like he says right here. A film is or should be more like music than like fiction. It should be a progression of moods and feelings. The theme, what's behind the emotion, the meaning, all that comes later.
Exactly. And you can use the emotion in your music to move people to the action of becoming your fan with positive marketing, with creative marketing that speaks to the mood
Yep.
of whatever it is you're doing. And so when it comes to marketing, yeah, there's a lot of shady people out there just trying to exploit out of you. But whether you're dealing with me or KP, obviously we got this podcast so you can see what we're all about. We put our face out here. We're not just some picture on social media, and we're not really putting our face out here. We put our face out here, put our voice out here, put everything out here, right? Because we're
Yep.
real, raw, and 100% genuine.
And the people we
But
learn from are genuine. Yep, the people we
yeah,
learn from
exactly.
are Sean and Corey and Damien, all those guys, from Jocelyn. The people we learn from, guys, they are legit. We
Yeah,
mean
people,
that,
and
and
I've learned from
we
multiple other
stand on
people.
that.
Yeah, and I've learned from multiple other people outside of no labels as well too, and
Right.
they do the same thing. They're right here all the time, year after year after year. What I'm saying, me and KP only been doing this for 6 months or something like that now, but we're out here all day every day. If people people want to test me or whatever when I'm messaging them or whatever, sometimes what I notice that they do is they'll send me a voice message instead of a text message, right?
Right.
And so I respond in kind. I send them a voice message back, right? At least at the beginning, right? Just to let them know I'm a real person. They can hear the tone in my voice. It's not just copy and pasting some shit. It's not some automated bot or nothing, And they can tell I'm legit. I'm really who I am, And it's hard to find real, raw people out there, but you can find them, and you need to do business with them. And when you find them, do that business, Whether it's me and KP or it's not, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to do the business, and you got to also be that person as well too in order for people to do business with you.
Yep.
So no matter how you're trying to approach this game, how you're trying to win off of it, you just got to be raw, real, and you just got to be out there.
Yep. And you got to
be
know who you're targeting.
creative.
Yep.
Yeah,
be creative
yeah,
and know who you're
absolutely.
targeting.
That's the key right there, man. That is the key. You know, like I'm working right now with a highly lyrical, dope artist. This dude's from Chicago, but you swear you pop on his music, you're like, oh, this dude's from Brooklyn or something, right? No, he's not, because like he's on boom bap shit. He sounds just like he could be like Method Man's cousin or something. He got a kind of raspy voice like him and everything like that. It's pretty dope, right? But I'm working with him and everything. He's like raw, real. So his target audience is hip hop heads. You know what I'm saying? You know, people who like trap music may like him a little bit, but not so much. His target audience is people who love boom bap, who are hip hop heads, people over in the UK who ride off that shit, everything like that. Is dope. And so
Why does
knowing
this
your
sound
audience,
so? Why does this artist sound so familiar to me?
I don't know, but I'll send you.
Sounds like one that I've worked with.
Probably
That's
not.
why I'm saying that. Okay.
It's none that I've heard off of you. I knew this guy for years back when I had my old
Okay,
radio station.
all right, because
Yeah.
I was just thinking about an artist. You said Chicago, and you said boom bap, and then you said like Method Man. I was like,
Right.
what? Are you serious? Like what? For real? No, I mean, it'd be totally
No.
cool if he was though. Like
Right.
seriously.
No, I haven't. There's a couple people that that have that you've worked with before or whatever and stuff like that. No, I'm open to working with them. I've just never contacted any of them.
Yeah,
I've briefly contacted one on our music
Instagram page.
podcast, Instagram, yeah, and then he's not really coming through. So I'm just like, okay, fine.
Yeah, I actually saw. Yeah, I saw some situations. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, knowing your audience is where you want to be at, you know. So like another artist that I'm trying to work with, I've known this dude for years. He wants to work with me, but he's just kind of like wishy-washy sometimes. It's kind of weird. Like he'll be on and off with the music. He's one of those that like he'll go away for 6 months and then come back and just kind of like hit it hard for a couple months and then go away for another multiple months. And I'm like, you can't do that. I was like, if you want to do that, if you want to go back into the lab for 6 months at a time, during those 6 months you're in the lab, you need to create 6 months worth of shit and then throw me some of that money so I can run your social media for you, and you can just go right back to the lab again. You just stay in there and we just keep creating that content, keep putting it out, blah, blah. Anyway, he is a very conscious artist. I've personally done a track with him before and his verse was like high level consciousness, right? And it was dope. But a lot of most of the music he puts out is on that super wavy type bullshit.
Oh, okay, I remember you talking
because,
about. Okay,
because I think he's trying to do the J. Cole model instead of the Kendrick Lamar model, right? So J. Cole, people are gonna disagree with me like a motherfucker on this, but J. Cole made his music, made his name making pop club music.
Yeah, when he signed with Jay-Z first, that's kind of where he went with it. Yeah,
exactly. Right. Once he got his name established, then he started transitioning in that. And then now he's just like conscious, and he'll make some like poppy sounding music, but it's still hella conscious. Whereas Kendrick has always been unconscious, and then he'll throw out a pop one here and there, but he's always been mainly conscious. And then his pop ones, like we talked about before, his pop ones are hella conscious, like ADHD.
Still,
on surface level, ADHD sounds like he's glorifying drug use. But you listen with an open mind, you're like, oh no, he's condemning drug use. You know, his song "Drink," it sounds like he's glorifying being a fucking alcoholic. No, he's talking anti that and everything like that, right? So
he paints pictures. He paints the picture of what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. A big picture, you know. But not to shit on either one of those people, but both of them have reached success. However, in my personal opinion, I think that Kendrick has much more long-lasting success and has a much more hardcore fan base than J. Cole will because he keeps flip-flopping and Kendrick doesn't. That's my personal opinion. People are not going to like that, but it is what it is. Because I have
to look at that. I have to look at that a little bit more carefully when it comes to J. Cole, because I love Cole. But
I like a lot of Cole too. But if you look at it, whenever he went from pop to conscious, he lost half his fan base off top. Now that's not always a bad thing. However, Now he's got to keep rebuilding, and he already had that certain level of notoriety. So people keep kind of expecting that. And then you're not true from the get, so people don't know really what you're about. Really, what's your angle here, sir? You know what I'm saying?
I think
that's
more
kind of what
so
they
for
come
him. Yeah, but I think more so for since we're going to do that, I'm going to go ahead and just do this transition into this conversation here.
Transition song, yeah.
All right, so since we're just talking about that, the transition of Cole, I feel like I can see where you're coming from, but here's what it is. Like, I think he's trying. I don't think he's trying. I think more so he's gotten to the point of where when he was signed with Jay, when he signed with Ho, Rock Nation, yeah, it was almost like he was trying to mimic a Southern version of Jay.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember the haircut, the way he dressed, all that, and this whole style, the way he was coming out. It was almost like you were looking at...
He even lived 10 years in New York trying to make it.
Yeah. It seemed like he was trying to do it that way.
Yep.
But what he realized was that he couldn't do it like Hove. But what I also see, and I'm going to say it like this, when I'm saying it like this, that he couldn't do it like Hove, was like he didn't live the lifestyle Hove lived growing up prior.
Yeah.
But what I also saw,
and a totally different time.
Weird. They had a totally different time also, but also lifestyle and state. Being from he's from the South, he's from North Carolina, Hove's from New York. But what also I saw is almost like Hove was looking at Cole like, I wish I would have been like this young nigga here instead of all these other niggas. Like I don't know. Like I don't know why I really see that. Like I felt like because I'm looking at the hair, I look at the way he's thinking now, all that, the way he's moving. Like
so
right.
J. Cole grew his hair out like a homeless person, so did Zova.
I just feel like, I don't think they drew like homeless. I mean, those are locks. That's not homeless.
Right.
That's
well,
not at all. But
yeah, but Jay-Z's looks really weird. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
He does. I mean, for the most part. But at the same time, it was like, but what I'm seeing is almost like for Cole, it's like he just wants to be himself. Like that's it. And when I see like with Dreamville and how he's like when he goes out and protests, he doesn't have it like he's not all on. People have to spot him. Same thing Jay does. Same thing Hove does when it comes to how he moves in life. Like he's like he moves differently. Like I don't know. I just feel like they mimic each other in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. Except for Cole, but I can see Hove looking at himself in the eyes of like, while Cole was looking at himself like, man, I want to be on top like Jay. Mm. Jay was looking at, Hove was looking at him. I feel like Hove was looking at him like, damn, little nigga, I wish I could have been more like you.
Possible. Yeah, it's possible because of the era that Jay-Z came up in. He couldn't be 100% raw, real in himself, but now you can, type of thing. Mm-hmm. I get that to an extent. My main thing was saying what I was saying is because, like, it's all about when people meet you. Mm-hmm. I tell this to people who are artists and producers, right? Because there's some people out there that are artists and producers. And so whenever I'm talking to them, I'm like, hey, you need to separate your social media entities and your names. They need to be separate from each other because when somebody first meets you, mm-hmm. they got to put you in a category. And so if you wear too many hats to somebody, you look all over the place. They can't categorize you. They can't remember you. You know what I'm saying? They can't remember you. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, that's why you got to be different things. And I know it's kind of weird. Somebody might be like, okay, well, your name is Harkos whenever you're on the mic rapping, but then also your name's Harkos on this. It's like, yeah, I'm kind of being a little everything all at once, but I haven't pushed my music in months. You know what I'm saying? Like, I throw my music out here and there. My music has always pretty much been a side thing. You know what I'm saying? It's never been my main thing. My main thing is, ever since I started making music again in about 2017, my music has, or my main thing has always been just helping other people, learning about marketing and business and outreach and everything like that. Like, that's been my main thing. Me making my music, man, that's just fun. That's just me enjoying myself. And then that's me doing a little bit of experimentation over here on the side with some other things, right?
Right.
But whenever I'm talking to somebody who does producing and they're an artist as well too, I'm like, look, you're going to reach two totally different audiences with that stuff, right? So you need to be one thing to people, you know? And so like the reason I drew that with J. Cole is like, he made his name, oh, he's that person you hear in the club, you know, what was that? If I was your boyfriend, I can't think of the name of the song. It's going in my head, but I can't think of any of the lyrics.
I know what
you know
you're saying.
Yeah. He's got that song, right? You know, and it's just like boom, boom, boom.
Work out on me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that song, right? So he's got that song. People are like, oh yeah, you know, and he's like, yeah, you pop in the club and everything like that and everything, you know. That's what you learn him about, right? And then all of a sudden he's like starting on some conscious shit, and you're just like you may go with him, but then you may be like, what the fuck is this dude? He's on some other shit. I'm not trying to educate myself. I'm trying to have fun in the club. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So when you come out, you know, it's not a bad thing to evolve as a human, which I'm not knocking him for evolving as a human. As he's grown older, he's gotten wiser, and he's elevated himself. But when you're a newer artist and you're trying to do something like that, like the dude I know who's trying to make popular music to get his buzz, and then he's going to come with some conscious shit right after, he's going to lose half that buzz off top because he's going to try to do it too quick. I know him. Right? I know that's going to happen. I've seen too many people do it. You got to just be you 100% the whole time, especially nowadays with social media. You gotta stay true to everything that you are all the time, because there's that record. You know what I'm saying? So like when people go do a deep dive on me, they're like, oh, this dude's always putting on for other artists. He's always putting on for musicians. I got that record. You know, like 7 years, 6 years, whatever it is, right? I got that record. So that's kind of what I was going at with that. But yeah, we've been going a little long on this one. But you know, when you're trying to find your target audience, it needs to be a resemblance of you, and you got to be a stable person in order to get that stable audience. Because if not, you're going to be all over the place. One track's going to do well, the other track's going to fucking flop. You know what I'm saying? Like hard. You're going to see hard ranges. You're not going to see that little bit of up and down, but you're trending upward. You're going to see a fucking big pop and then a fucking through the goddamn floor situation. You know? And so yeah, everything that we said wrapped up into a bow. Anything else you wanted to add out of the book or anything like that for wrapping up the show today, KP?
Nah, man, I just want to give us a good, you know.
I saw it in your face. I saw that in your face, man. I saw the look on your face. You're like, oh, I'm looking for something. What am I looking for? But,
I was like sitting there looking at this like, I just want to give us a good old 1-2, and then this is going to be long. Get ready, y'all.
Exactly. Soak it in. Yeah. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of time. See, and now... Yo, it's still going. All right, there we go. So for those of y'all who are watching, you can see the dynamic between my personality and KP's personality. While that cheer was going on, He literally felt like he was in front of a huge crowd. He was soaking it all up. And he was sitting there, for those of y'all who are listening only, he was sitting there like pointing at people like, yeah, thank you, everything like that, right? And I'm just sitting here like, all right, is it over yet?
All right.
Right? It's like, okay, yeah, give me applause, but fucking fill my bank account first. How about that? You know, say I appreciate you, and then let me hear that notification on my phone from PayPal real quick. You know what I'm saying? That's I'm not all about the fucking cheers and shit like that. I'd much rather have the cha-chings. But
Hey,
nah.
but that putting on these cheers is going to help us get the cha-ching. So
Absolutely, man. I get you. But yeah, so we're gonna get the fuck up out of here. Almost an hour and a half on this episode right here. I like this with Riverside because I actually get to see the time. Before I would have to just kind of guess, you know. And today I don't have a hard out time limit, but we want to try to keep it around an hour because we're starting to get syndicated on internet radio stations and stuff like that now. So
facts.
Some of them will cut us off after an hour and stuff. So, but anyway, we went a little over, but it's all good. It's whatever. We do what the fuck we want.
We got YouTubes. You guys can check us out on there and a couple of other spots we got too.
Yeah. Well, if they've made it an hour and a half, they're listening on one of those platforms anyway. They didn't get cut off. But yeah. Anyway. musicmakingsensepod.com for any and everything music making sense. If you want to work with us, hit us up over there in the chat or send us an email.
Yes.
Excuse me. Also, we have multiple different things that you can be a part of. Anything that you need help with, let us know. We got a lot of free options as well as paid options, so we can connect you with people 100% free. We can also help you out for a couple bit of that ching too. But we got good rates and everything like that. Our main focus is helping you, but if we're gonna be spending our time, we need to be compensated for our time, especially since we're taking time out of other things to help you. I'm sure you would want the same thing done in return. So, but yeah, keep tuning in. Share the fuck out of the show with at least one person that you know would enjoy this and benefit off of this episode. And keep coming back. We'll see you next episode. Make sure you like, share, follow, subscribe on all the platforms, all that good happy horse shit, fun stuff. Yeah. I'll see y'all next time.
Holla.
All right.
Hey. Holla, y'all.
All right. See y'all. Have a good one.
Holla.